my dudes. We got some exciting things going on. What is going on, guys? Today we got a brand new video with the Mazda 3, and today we are going to be doing the lowering for this car this year. I got laid off from my job, so now I'm kind of like full-time YouTube as we speak, so it's pretty chillin'. Today we're going to be installing the Cork Sport adjustable struts and dampers along with the Cork Sport lowering spring set. We're going to be installing it in the Mazda 3, seeing how low she goes, and call her a day. Today I want to do a full tutorial, step by step on how I do this. I've tried doing this before, but I always get distracted, whether it's I have someone with me, or I'm trying to rush through it, or we get stuck doing something. So today I'm doing the dead-ass full tutorial. Everything that you need to know and everything that you need to do to install your aftermarket sets. So I'll be recording, taking them out, telling you a little bit of how to put them together because they already are put together. I don't want to take them apart. And then little things you should do before you put them in, and then putting them back in, explaining some sounds you might hear and stuff like that. Now the reason why I got a set of springs and aftermarket struts and dampers, I got them for really cheap from, if you guys remember my Tofino trip, David, thank you very much for supplying me with these really cheap. I would have gone coilovers. Unfortunately, they weren't really in the market at the time. I didn't want to buy brand new ones. David hooked me with these up real cheap. So that's why I'm kind of going with this kind of setup. Normally I would go with coilovers so I could get that ride height adjustability. But one thing that I do like about this is I'm not sacrificing the OEM kind of ride feel to it. And I also don't have to extremely worry about bumps, because it is, like, you guys know coilovers reps, they blow up if they hit a pothole. I feel like that's not the case with this. I mean, they're struts, they shouldn't blow. Coilovers is kind of like, it's kind of like buying a car that's made of carbon fiber, but instead you bought a car that's made of aluminum. Less talk, let's get straight into this. These will be going on my 2007 Mazda 3. It's a 2-liter. It's currently ugly. The speed's looking great. There's a Purelator truck driving by, but these are currently sitting on some 3rd-gen wheels right now, and the stock suspension from that speed over there. Basically, what I noticed was on the speed suspension, these are a little higher in the front. So I'm thinking that there's gonna be approximately that much gap. Probably, I'm guessing it's gonna cut that gap in approximately half, and we'll see how she goes from there. So anyways, we're gonna start with the front of the car, lift up the front, take both wheels off, and we'll get started with this long journey day of this car going low once again on ugly wheels. I should have wheels pretty quick, but ugly wheels. Yo, but dead ass, look how good it looks. Okay, so you're definitely going to want to use a lot of PB Blast for this. There are, I believe, 3 things that we're going to be doing down here. First thing is, there's a clip right here. I'm going to go ahead and start by removing that. It's our ABS, I believe. And so what you want to PB Blast here is, there is the knuckle bolt that sits right here. Goes through and holds the strut place in with the knuckle. So go ahead and start pre-soaking everything. There is a Allen bolt. I have aftermarket end links, so I don't have an Allen. This might be an issue, but there's one that sits right here. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and PB Blast this nut, or WD-40, whatever works. And then right here as well, you don't really need it. I like to just do it anyway. And then around here, around the strut, because you're going to be blasting that out too. So first thing we're going to do here, besides taking the connector out, is taking the shim out. So I like to use said set of tools, and this one's pretty hard, so I like to just grab onto it. You basically got to just wiggle it out, but you got to pull on it too, and shim out. Very rusty, but, and which then, this one's kind of fun to pull out. You basically push it out from the bottom and then slide it right out, and then you don't have to deal with that anymore. That is out of the way. And then the next thing I like to hit is the Allen up here. I believe it's a 14 if I'm correct. Mine is a 15. Oh yeah. Pop that off. And now your end link will come out. Go ahead, slide that off to the side. Your end link says bueno. Now this end link is shot, I can tell. Definitely have to get a new one later on. This bolt's a 17. Go ahead, grab breaker bar, get in there, and get rid of the shit. Go ahead, pull that up. And now you got pretty much everything disconnected. You're pretty much good to go. The next step basically is to hammer down this. You can do this multiple ways. There's a shim way where you can put like a coin or something in the back where it squeezes the knuckle together. I've always done the hammer way. You guys might cringe. It's my way of doing it. You guys can put like something here to protect this area. I'm just gonna go ham and get her done. Okay, here we are. Oof. So we're currently done underneath. We're gonna go up to the hood now, and there are 3 bolts that go along that we're gonna remove. All 4 of these, or all 3 of these are 14s. Go ahead and remove those. Now you need to make sure you're holding on to the struts because it will fall once you remove this last bolt. And go ahead and pull out your strut. Bazing. Ooh, that's dirty. And this is what it looks like with no strut in place. Alright guys, so here is the stock strut and the new struts we're going to be putting in. Now keep in mind these are used, that's why they look a little battered. Now you can already tell the difference of how low it's going to be. How lower it sits, should I say. So it's already sitting that much lower. Obviously when it goes in the car, it's gonna be much lower than that. A couple things that you wanna look out for when you're transferring stuff over, and some noises that are gonna be made if you don't do things right, are gonna be the top hat bolt, basically that's, like your bearing and stuff like that. So the only thing I'm gonna caution you guys about is basically just to move everything over. So if you have to move springs over to your aftermarket struts or anything like that, you have to remove this nut and clamp down this spring with I forgot what they're called. I'm gonna say tensioner for now. You gotta clamp these down so they don't shoot out. Take this off, take all of it off, put the new spring on, put it back together. Now you gotta make sure this has gotta be really tight or this is gonna make noise and your spring might bind. It feels fine, that bearing in there is pretty good, so I don't have to worry about everything, and I'm pretty sure it's been tightened, but I'm just gonna double check off camera to make sure. Now with the cork sport adjustable damping, there's a knob on the top to adjust. So basically if you spin it all the way, so if counterclockwise is loosening and then clockwise is tightening, and there's 15 settings. Corksport says that 5 to 7 without or springs will work, so I'm gonna do 7 because I'd like this to be stiff enough. So this is our new setup. This is the old setup. It's quite the same looking. It's all the same. Everything's all there, ready to go. I'm gonna make sure that the top nut's tightened, and then we'll go ahead and put it in the car. So make sure you have the right one. So the first thing we're gonna do is basically line up the top. Now position it so that it looks normal. I believe it should sit like triangle, like that. So we're gonna bring it in and we're gonna bring it up top. So you're gonna wanna put all 3 in so that when you're putting it into the bottom, into the knuckle, it fits nicely. Okay, so this part is the trickiest. So if you're doing this on the ground, you're gonna need a jack for sure. Pretty much any way you're gonna need a jack. What we're aiming to do here is metal piece that comes down, and there's a slither in the clamp. Basically your objective is to line this up perfectly so that this slides into here, and while we're jacking this upwards, this slides onto this. So I'm gonna PB blast this. Try to explain this the best as I go. Now if you guys have 2 people, this makes it so much easier because you can pry the back of this so that this slides in. Now you might be here for a while, I'm just gonna warn you. This gets a little tricky. Bring it up slowly, check it, and see if you can send it with that and go for it. You need to wiggle this when it goes up or it won't go in. Basically you gotta go in perfectly. Like I said, if you have a pry bar in the back, it works so much easier. This is going in quite nicely though. I believe that's all the way down. So if you believe you have this all the way through, big bolt that came out of the knuckle, you should be able to slide, basically just send it all the way through, which it feels good. So I'm gonna go ahead and send it. Next step that you want to do after tightening that is basically align your end link. So you're gonna have to drop down this. So you might have issues putting in your end links with this setup. So the easiest way to do this is make sure the other side is out. I was trying to do this when the other side was still in. Didn't work out that well. And when I say that, it was a stock setup. So basically bring this up, slide it in, and there you go. I'm gonna zap this on there nice and slow. Now, like I said, I told you guys to remember this part. Forgot that, so I'm gonna have to redo it. But on the other hand, I'm gonna go ahead and slide this back in. Okay, and now since everything's back together, you can go ahead and torque everything. I'm gonna do the knuckle at a 70. I'm gonna do the end links to 40. Okay, so everything on the bottom set. So the top now, like I said, I left it loose to line it up. So my alignment might be off because it's been set a certain way for all its life, but I'm just gonna set this properly now. So the ring in the middle, my objective is to basically line it up with this ring around the edge. If I look at it, it's already pretty much set. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten all these down, and then we're gonna be torquing them to, I have it at 25 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels back on, see how she looks. All right.
Oh yeah.
I felt that. Since we've done the front, we're gonna go ahead and do the back. Make sure you take off both wheels to start. All right, now we're under the car. So the first step that we're gonna wanna do is remove these end links on both sides. They're held in by two 14s, one on the top, one on the bottom. These are also Allen key applications as well, but these are quite new, so I should believe that these should come off without any Allen key. If you guys have, had them on for a while, then you probably need an Allen key to take them off. So let's go ahead, and I believe removing would be, if you need to, double wrenching. Okay, and now that these are both out, you should be able to move the sway bar down and pull them out. And just like that. We're gonna go ahead and do the shock, just so we know we can get that done first. So for the shock application, how to remove this, there are two nuts that sit at the top of here. You gotta be really careful with these guys. Once you're done with those ones, there is the shock bolt. It sits on the other side. So if you locate this boy, you come over here and you can see where the shock comes down, and it's on the other side. So you're gonna wanna remove that, and then those two, and your shock will come out. It's gotta be the scariest thing to do in my life. And so after you remove all the bolts and everything, I had to take some time and remove these ones. This will pop out, which then you can either remove it from the lower side or the top side. So now this is where I'm gonna recommend something. My top hat broke. Like I said, this is from the Speed. This is very old, lots of corrosion and everything, so this is broken, thankfully. With the new set, I have a new set of these, so I would recommend replacing these because these do break easily. I could probably drop this and it would snap. So now here is the new shock. Adjustment is on this ring, so I'm gonna adjust these a little bit more stiff than what I would run. So compress the shock all the way, trying to hold it as you get it looping up. Shoot this up, try and get these, and then you should have time, which then you have to align it in, which I believe that is. Then the shock, since it's stiff, it's gonna take a while to go up. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot in that bottom bolt, the big boy. And now that's done, these two 12mm nuts that sat on the top hat screws, you're gonna torque these to 20 foot-pounds. Barely anything, but if you do more, you'll strip them. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up. Now that those two bolts are in, we're gonna torque them. So again, the bottom knuckle 70 foot-pounds and the top two are gonna be 20. So when you're doing these, again, be careful. Don't hit them on an angle or they will strip or snap and it's not fun. So now the shock is done and we can go ahead and pull the spring. Now since we've already cracked or done the end links, the only bolt to get the springs out is going to be this one. So I would suggest putting some PB Blast or WD-40 on this one if you haven't taken that out for a while. If this has any kind of play or resistance where it feels rubbery, like you pull it and then it kind of goes back, don't pull this out because you'll be cutting this. Just a fair warning, been there, done that. And it's dead. Now, lower this down, grab a hammer, bada bing, bada boom. This will come down. Go ahead, pull the stock spring up. Here we have the new spring. So same as before. Put your little rubber piece on top of it. This bottom, find where the hole is. So I know it's right here. So I'm gonna try and aim it to go in when I throw this in. And then fits right there. And we're good to go and put this back together. Now for this part, you're gonna need a pry bar, and you're also gonna need to use this lift again. So basically your objective is to line this up through there. Big use of tool right now is this bump stop thing. So like I said, use that bump stop. This is your big tool right now. Wiggle this around, but if I put it right here, that is perfect. Unfortunately, I don't have the impact with me, but I'm gonna line this up. Go ahead and ratchet this stupid thing in. The fact I just did that all by hand is, well, ratchet is kind of funny. Let's go ahead and torque it. Me torquing it to 70 once again, which it's already set to. Now, which leaves us with the end links, and then we're good to go. So the rain's starting to fall. I ran into a bunch of issues, but those are all taken care of. So we're kind of in a rush to do this. So to put the end links back in, you guys got to put both end links in at the same time. So the best way to do this is basically line this one up, send this one through, and then it's like a guessing game. I bring that up with my hand. I'm gonna quickly thread a nut on, and then thread a nut on this side too. End links have a torque, and I don't follow it because I believe they're not tight enough. So I go by how tight I want to make it. So I know that's good. Now, be careful not to strip these or you will end your life. The rain's coming. I gotta take a deuce. I'm trying to hurry this up. Okay, everything is put back together. My apologies. My battery died. So I hand tightened the back end. All the wheels are on. So I'm gonna go ahead and lower it. And we're gonna see how low she goes. Finally. I'm glad I made it before it got really dark out. So let's go ahead, place it down straight on the ground. You guys can get the lowered action. Well, this is it lowered. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm definitely gonna get coilovers because this isn't low enough for me. So this is temporary, but she's on the ground. She's good to go. I'm gonna drive it around, make sure it's all good and everything. I ran into some issues, gotta just check those out and diagnose them, but that's the low you're gonna get on a Mazda 3 sedan. These wheels are a little small, and I think they're smaller than the 3, but the front looks okay, but the rear's still kind of high, but that's just kind of how she goes. Obviously things kind of have to settle a bit more, but and I also have the rear fully stiff because like I mentioned, it's a little bunk in the rear right now. So unfortunately, definitely gonna grab some coilovers and stuff in the future, but it's nice to have this car low again, and hopefully it'll drive nice too with that stiff suspension. So I still gotta stiffen up the front to pair with the rear, but this is gonna be, like, according to Cork Sport, a autocross setup. I'm gonna get pooch, but there you guys have it. That's your full tutorial on basically what you can do with coilovers or struts and springs if you guys want to do those yourself. That is your full tutorial on how to do so. Looking good, and I hope you guys installed yours with no problems at all. Alright guys, and that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I just went for a quick boot. These actually feel really good, although like I said, I'm not satisfied with how low I am, so I think I'm gonna vouch for a different set of springs or just go coilovers, but I think I'm gonna try a different set of springs because they, you know, springs are pretty cheap and I can probably make my money back with them anyway in case they aren't. So I think I'm gonna go with the E-back, I-back, whatever you call them. I think they have like a pro low kit or something like that that really makes like a big drop. So I think I'm gonna go with those guys. The Corksport springs just aren't really, you know, at my height. I don't know what I really want yet, but these damping, like these struts and shocks and the damping settings on them, like, feels like I'm driving on stock suspension. It's really stiff, but it feels like I'm driving stock suspension. Like, I feel every bump in the road, but I'm actually like low-key really impressed. So I think I might vouch for some lower springs and just try it out and see how she goes. This video is meant for basically your guys' education on how to install coilovers, springs, struts, shocks, yada yada in your Mazda 3s and Mazda Speed 3s, because, you know, everyone's got to have it. It's quarantine season. You guys are doing your builds. You guys probably want to lower your cars. There you guys have it. That is how to do so. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, turn on your post notifications, and leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions or comments that you'd like me to see. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Keep it real. I'll see y'all in the next one.